You know, Google doesn't care about your business, but if you play the game right, they will possibly send you some customers. I want to share a few tips that I've learned over the years and some strategies and thoughts that will help you rank using white hat methods, not black hat methods. Now, I'm wearing this hat today because in the world of SEO, you've got black hat and you got white hat. And the white hat strategies are the ones that are endorsed by the search engines, the ones they tell you to do, the activities they say, do these things, these are best practices, this is the way you should run your business. The black hat techniques, those are the ones that are trying to outsmart the algorithm. They're trying to outsmart the search engine. They're trying to do things that if they got caught, they'd get that slap on the wrist, the website gets deranked, bad things happen to them, but they're willing to take that risk because they think they can outsmart them. Now, I started programming when I was about 12 years old, which means I've been in this space for most of my life, and I've spent a good deal of time writing code, figuring out algorithms, and playing in that whole world. And the one thing I can tell you, if you're a solo guy or you've got a small team and you're trying to outsmart companies that are built to be search engines and they have thousands of employees and billions of dollars, it doesn't take a very smart person to realize that playing the black hat game is going to get you in trouble real quick. So stick with the white hat. Now here's an example, one of my favorites of the black hat techniques. This was from years ago when SEO was first really taking off, and there was a guy who was complaining because his website got punished. And if you went to his website, he just was talking about normal things, you know, trying to sell stuff, but down at the bottom corner of his site there's this teeny little spot, and if you knew how to read code, you could go down there and see what was in that spot. And he was talking about things like, he just had thousands of words stuffed into this little corner, and he had things like alien graveyard, toe rings, just random words, thousands of random words. And his idea was that he should be able to put that content on there because somebody looking for alien graveyards might want his content. I don't know. The guy was probably crazy, but the point was he was trying to hide a bunch of content on the page that only the search engines would see. And once the search engines got sophisticated enough to catch on to what he was doing, he got punished, his website got deranked, and he was off crying in the corner. So there's good things you can do and there's bad things you can do. So this video is mostly dealing with businesses that have a local presence. You're trying to serve a small local geography. And in today's world, Google has a number of tools that they've provided and built to help you be effective in trying to show up for your local customer base. Now there's a number, like I say, thousands of different variables that affect how you rank. One of the things black hat people are doing nowadays is they will actually hire groups, individuals, companies, whatever, to go in and manipulate and do mountains of searches just enough to affect this algorithm. So they'll go in and type in a company name and pair it with a city. So maybe they do a search like Bob's Plumbing in Jonesville, and they'll have different people doing that search, and they'll try and get enough influence into Google so that Google will think, oh wow, there's a lot of people looking for Bob's Plumbing in Jonesville. And then they also want to show up in Taylorville, so they'll have a bunch of people, Bob's Plumbing in Taylorville, and they'll have a bunch of searches done. What that does is it makes the search engines think that there's actually some organic desire for that company, and that helps them to raise. They'll also do the same thing with driving directions. All these black hat techniques where they're trying to manipulate the search engines to trick them into thinking that they have more of a presence in those communities than they truly do. So if you want to do things that is not black hat, here's a few ideas for you. Step one, you've got to understand Google doesn't care about you or your business at all. Period. Exclamation point. End of discussion. They care about one thing, and that's being profitable. And they've determined the way to be profitable is to help their customers get what they want. Now their customers are the people doing the searches. So they care about the people doing searches. And they've figured out if we help people who are doing searches to solve their problems more efficiently, more easily, with less pain, then those people will trust us as a search engine. And if they trust us as a search engine, we're going to get more money from them. Pretty logical, right? So how do you as a business owner fit into that picture? Well, what you've got to do is you've got to prove to the search engines or prove to Google or whoever that you as a business can help them make their customers happier. So how do you do that? Well, step one, you've got to have a Google Business Profile. The Google Business Profile is a tool you can use to help inform the search engines that you're a local business providing specific services in a specific area. Once you have one of those, you got to post on it regularly. You've got to have a presence. You want to add new photos. You want to get honest and real reviews from real people. You want to post updates. You want to keep that profile up to date. Make sure it's filled out completely. Make sure that it puts your best foot forward. That's going to be kind of the foundation. Once you've got that foundation established, then you want to get active in your community. What can you do to have an influence in your community? What can you do to make yourself known in the community? Think of it in terms of, if I do this activity, will it generate some sort of influence online? Will people talk about me on social media? Will people share me in the news? Is there going to be some sort of way that there's notification on the internet of the activities that I'm engaging in? A few years ago, I was helping a company get some presence online, and they were a very unknown entity. So what we did is we went out to a number of social media influencers, and those social media influencers, we had them talk about the product, and we gave them product and let them talk about their own experience with it. And we went out to a number of social platforms, and people from all over, different walks of life, different experiences, they would take the product, review it, talk about it, and share it online. That little example was enough to help build some presence so that the company wasn't the only ones talking about themselves, others were sharing as well. That's the same kind of thing you can do. But it's important when you're getting others to talk about you, you want to keep it real. I like to use the acronym PAR. You want to keep all of those references on par. And what does PAR mean? PAR means proximity, authority, and relevance. So if for example, you're serving customers, say, I don't know, in Nevada, and maybe you're a locksmith in Nevada, right? And all of a sudden you go out and you go to, I don't know, maybe Fiverr or something, and you find some guy that says, oh, we'll get hundreds of people to talk about you on this social media channel, right? Only $5. You go out, you buy it, and all of a sudden you've got this flower shop in Bangladesh talking about your locksmith business in Nevada. Now, proximity, are they close to you? No, halfway around the world, right? Are they an authority? Probably not. They probably don't have any kind of following whatsoever online, so they're probably not a very trusted entity. Relevance? Nah, not really. Flower shop, locksmith, they're both small businesses, but not really. Now, let's take a look at another example. Let's say that you are that same locksmith shop in Nevada, and for some reason you're featured on your local newspaper front page. They also publish online, and so you're featured on the very front cover of the website as well. Are they proximity? Yeah, they're close. They're in the same town. Are they an authority? Yeah, they're the local newspaper. Are they relevant? They're absolutely relevant because they have authority and proximity, and they're known as a news organization. So they've got all three of those in high degrees. That's going to count a lot more for you. So if you want to get real influence, you don't just go after the ones that are high in proximity, high in authority, and high in relevance. It's okay to have micro influencers talk about you as well, but you want to make sure that they're going to hit and stay on par. So they have to be somewhat related to you in some way. Now, you can have some that are not close by still talking about you. The search engines are going to get that. That's normal. But you want to make sure that you get real relationships with real people where they're talking about you, building up your business, and keep it authentic. When you're authentic, you're going to be doing things in a white hat way. And when you're doing white hat, you're not going to get slapped on the wrist in another 6 months or 2 years. So again, make sure you fill out your Google business profile. Also, make sure that you've got a good online presence with other people talking about you, and you'll be impressed with the results.